Hey guys, Desolator Gaming here with a very unserious video from, I guess, what is at this point a podcast. See, here's a little YouTube advantage play. If you're too lazy or cheap to get some B-roll or like record some gameplay or whatever to put in the background, just call it a podcast and put up a static image. But very unserious episode of the world's least consistent podcast. This is covering all the terminology for advantage play and then a little bit casinos in general. So first up on the list, we got early birding. I'm not 100% sure that anybody outside of my crew uses this, but if you know the other AP crews or the, wannabe pros stayed up way too late at night and they aren't really early birds, then you go early birding, which is where you know that there was like a big event, a concert, a sports thing, whatever, and the crowd didn't leave, so the AP players probably didn't leave, so they ain't getting up after a 6-hour night of sleep. Or you're pretty sure they are going to do that because they're early birds and you want to undercut them. So you show up at like 3 in the morning instead of like 6 in the morning. That's early birding. Early bird gets the worm. And I've had what we call a free run of the casino, or just a free run. Like, hey, I was early birding today and we went on a free run. That means nobody else showed up. I had zero competition. And that's where you can make some money. You're going to see a lot of misses. It's tedious and you're going to feel eyes on you. You're going to feel what everybody else calls heat, but like we tend to not use terms like that while we're in the casino. So if we're like, hey, we got heat. Hey, you got heat. Hey, there's heat over there. We don't want somebody with sharp ears overhearing it or some kind of camera somewhere or some player we didn't know was on the other side of the bank of machines, because heat is universal for like, you're trying not to get caught by the authorities. That goes outside of casinos. That's like police. So we just say, I got eyes, which means we think that somebody is watching what we're doing. We're not sure if they care, but we say it whether it's like casino security or just whoever, or if we're like playing at the machines right by the bathroom and some guy's waiting for his wife in the bathroom. We just say eyes, and eyes means stop playing, turn around, look in the reflection, lean in, whatever you got to do. So next up is my favorite, which is camping. That's where you're watching someone play. You can tell that they're not a regular just because you don't recognize them. They aren't in their 70s. Or they look drunk, they look like they're there with a group, they look inexperienced, they look like they don't know what they're doing, or you overhear them making a statement about what's going on in the machine that is painfully inaccurate. You think you've got an opportunity, or camping for sure if you credit check them, as we call it. Like, I'll go to my crew and say, can you credit check them? Which means walk past. Like, I'll keep my eyes on it. I'm at the distance I need to be to jump on the machine before anybody else does if they get off. Or I just like my seat. If I get up, somebody might take it. But I go, I can't quite see it from this distance. Could you go credit check them? That means check how many credits they have in the machine. So if it's low, like if it's $3 a spin and they got 30 in there, we know they got 10 spins left before they either rebuy or they make a decision. And if that decision is jump off and it's a very positive state, we're jumping on it. And that's the only time camping, because I could be walking around hitting other machines. I only camp if we already hit the entire casino or if it's a really good opportunity. We got some high roller or like some end of the night person where they're like, chasing losses, or they're about even, or they're only up 100. They throw the whole thing at like $10 a spin on a machine that is never going to pay within 10 spins, but they don't know that. That's camping. Otherwise, kind of the opposite is I've heard hyenas or a hyena circling, or there's a hyena. That's someone who just does laps. They just circle around. They're looking for opportunities. They don't want to go home. They need that money usually to either pay their bills or buy drugs. It's usually one of the two. Or they're so new to it that they aren't completely and utterly dissuaded by the tedium, the monotony, the unbelievable repetition, and failure after failure after failure checking a whole bank of machines. So looking for leftover states almost specifically on video poker machines, so almost exclusively Ultimate X, I call it scavenging. So, old term. A lot of other people call it vulturing. I've heard every term in the book. It's just like the luck has arrived versus a shaker versus a rumble. I've heard people just call it a haywire because that was one of the first machines to do it. Me and my crew call it a blue star. Or if we're with new people, we just call it the you're about to win animation. Because too many people ask us what we meant about Blue Star. And it's from one exact machine. Shout out if you can name it down in the comments section, because then you're cool. But yeah, when you're scavenging mults, that's what you're doing. We don't like vulturing. That's just, I don't know. Scavenging just sounds cooler, but I think it's like a Fallout term. At least from Fallout 4, but I think it predates that. This gaming channel used to be a gaming channel. The next one, I love this one. Silver miners, aka tray rats. Okay, this goes back to the coins. People would go down the rows and they would check every single tray to see if somebody missed or left one single coin because they're in a hurry or they're drunk or they really thought they counted correctly. And back in the day, they were pretty much nickels, dimes, and quarters. So, I mean, you could make at least $3 an hour doing that. And so many people were doing it. It looks so bad. It's just giving the people the impression that they're like surrounded by like homeless people because who would bother? And it's just like anything else. If you're the only one doing it, you might be able to make $15 an hour. I don't know. Probably not. That was a little before my time. But it's just such a bad look and nobody wanted to be around them and people thought it was a little awkward. So the casinos would crack down hard on the silver miners. Now, with it going to what they call the Tito systems, ticket in, ticket out, aka digital, now they're just called voucher vultures or paper miners. And those are terms almost exclusively used by the casino staff, which is code for go kick this person out. They'll say, yeah, we got a paper miner. And in Vegas, at least, I don't know about other states, they have this really weird law. I'm probably going to butcher this, but it's like any machine or any credits left on a machine cannot be grabbed as like, oh, free tip, free money, back to the casino, because then your security staff would be the paper miners. Their full-time job would be to check every single machine to see if it still has credits, and their secondary part-time job would be security things. So I think because of that, and because it's now abandoned money, they have this weird agreement where the government gets 80% and the casino gets 20%, I believe. It's something like that. Really weird. So then, because they get 20% of it, and because they don't want those people around, now it's combined with like, they're somewhat obligated by the government to like find it. I don't know about going that far, but they do not like that. And you know how most casinos went changeless after the change shortage during COVID? And how they stopped minting pennies, so like now even more are going changeless. Because yes, you could put in multiple tickets where you know it's going to round like up or down, 2.5 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents, that kind of thing, and probably make about $1 an hour. But you're going to sit there at the change machine and rip them off. So with the death of the penny and people knew it was coming, that's actually the reason that they are taking action against that as well. So people in the security industry were calling that a rounding attack, and it goes back to even the movie Office Space, although that was an accident. But yeah. Very well known in software engineering circles. So that's like the whole thing with that. So they do not want paper miners, people who will just walk up, pretend to cash their ticket, and then grab the one or two that are sitting on the change machine, or they'll wait for somebody to leave, a 76-cent ticket on top of a machine. Because if you walk around doing enough of those, you could actually make like $20 an hour on a busy night. And on a busy night, you're going to blend in. But they will trespass you on the spot, no warning whatsoever. That is a big no-no. Then we got my favorite, the point scummers, aka point scumming, and min-maxers, kind of the same thing. So it's people who are like, okay, if I get exactly this many, and it's like 5x multiplier day, and then I do exactly this, then this will be enough to qualify for the next level, which automatically gets you this. And they're usually in like online groups where they share this information, and they know it's all automated. It's not like discretionary, oh, talk to the host, oh, how often have you seen them? It's all computerized, it's all automated, because then they can just get rid of staff. So people who will like say, I'm coming here and I'm getting exactly 5,000 points. It's going to get multiplied by 5. I'm going to get this number back, which means that I'll risk this at this level. And it's min-maxing. It's the minimum in to maximize the amount of comps and promos and points. That actually reminds me of a term that I use probably more than any other one. If I say I'm jumping, it means I'm abandoning something early. So if you sit down at like a 12 on Magic Treasures Dragon, but it's low enough that you're like, okay, whatever, it's probably break even or just slightly positive at 12. Serious players will go 13 or 14. And you're like $20 in out of 100, you hit the blue free game bonus and you win 30. So now you're up 10. And you're like, that number has not moved in 30 spins. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that, oh, you're in some special mode where the accrual rate is lower. No, it just means bad luck happened. But now you're like, well, I'm up 10. I'm just going to jump. I'm jumping. That means I'm getting out early on this run because I already made the anticipated profit. Now, FYI, there is zero mathematical reason to do that. Absolutely zero. The I already won system, good. You're $10 up and the state is exactly what it was before. It just usually it's if it's a little sketch or like you're like, wow, this could eat my whole bankroll. I never should have started this in the first place, but that's just discipline. Remember, do not start with you cannot finish. But yeah, jumping, that means I am not going to continue to pursue this very middling number. By the way, I'm not sure I didn't say this one yet during this episode. And if I said a term that I didn't define and totally missed it, I'll leave it in the comments section and I'll answer what the heck I'm talking about. But burned. That means when we say, hey, there's a play. That's another thing. A play just means there's a positive state. Like, I might have a play on this one. Oh, I had 3 plays on that. That means, I found 3 positive states out of like the 30 whatever is on the game. But if you think you spotted a play and then you're like, well, we'll circle back. And I'm not going to camp it. We'll circle back. And you go hit like another bank because you're like, oh, the bank's open. That or empty bank means finally everybody got up. We can have the whole thing to ourselves. It's 3. I either got 3 people. We'll sit on the edges and we'll lock up the middle. Oh, lockup means reserve it. Apparently this is not very common. It's becoming more common. Check if you just didn't realize it. I can put in my card even at any level at a lot of casinos and just hit reserve machine and then select the number of minutes. There is a strict harsh limit. And I think we can't lock up more than 2 or 3. But if I say, somebody says, hey, there's a play over here. And I'm like, well, I'm camping this one. Lock it up. That means go grab your card, my card, any card. I don't care. Lock it up and we'll hit that one. And usually we'll lock it for 15 and set like a 13-minute timer. So check if your casino does that. But then unsurprisingly, burned means either you already hit the thing, so now it's burned. Like, oh yeah, I hit that one, it's burned. Or somebody else got to it first, or the person never got off when you were camping and say, yeah, I was camping one, but now it's burned. They already hit the bonus. They cleared the thing. They reset the number, whatever. One of my favorites. This goes back to just business in general. Any business opportunity that doesn't work anymore, like Amazon dropshipping or flipping houses after 2008. Well, much after 2008. That's a burned industry. That whole job is burned. So in the casino advantage play world, that means everybody knows what the numbers are on this machine. It's so old, it's so obvious, it's so easy. Like Regal Riches being at an 8, that's burned. Everybody knows to play at an 8 on the blue. That's a burned game. Now, I'd almost say Hexbreaker. It's like the average casino goer doesn't know how to beat Hexbreaker. But any advantage player knows that information has been posted online 50 different times. It is public info, it's on forums, it's on random websites, it's on my channel, so my whole channel should be just called Blown Gambling. But dang it, we're taking it back. The whole point of my channel was, one, I could use some side cash because your boy unemployed right now, but also, I want to take this back, man. I hate professional full-time APers. They are the biggest scumbags. I haven't met one single one that's an upstanding member of society that doesn't enjoy day drinking, ripping off and scalping children with Pokemon cards, and colluding and stuff at auctions. They just refuse to get a job and cool. But it's usually because they're such a complete and utter train wreck of a human being that they would get fired anywhere else. So they're like, oh, yeah, this is one of my side hustles. And then they go drive for Uber too. While also colluding doing that. Everything, their whole life is gray area crap. They're just waiting to get arrested. They just move from side hustle to side hustle with crap they heard about on the internet until what they're doing gets blown and then they move somewhere else. So yeah, there you go. I'm not even kidding. I saw advantage players, 2 of them, from the casino that I most frequent at the Goodwill bins going through that's where you buy stuff by the pound that didn't sell elsewhere, just overflow. And they're flipping stuff on eBay. And then I think I saw one of them at a garage sale buying power tools that he knew he could sell, he could ship, but they're really heavy, but he could probably make, $10-20 profit if he brought them all to the pawn shop. So even at 50%, it's about effort versus time, and there's so many hours in the day and you could be doing something else. So it's yeah, I could make more on this, but it would take me an hour to post a picture and this and that and package it up and, could just drop it off, move on with my life, and I make it $50 an hour, So cool. It's somewhere between, yeah, entrepreneur, make it happen, fight the man who needs a job. Yeah, get out and do it. But then you look at their muffler dragging Chevy Cavalier and you're yeah, I'm sure they're doing great for themselves. I'm sure they're totally way ahead. They make regular contributions to their Roth IRA and they totally don't lie on their taxes and overinflate expenses while, I was going to say hiding their income, but hiding their income by buying groceries and other materials for cash is just called money laundering. Although it's only tax evasion. So, okay, we'll just call it that because technically it wasn't illegally gained money. You're just not paying taxes on it. So, in other words, I don't like those people. And that's why this channel exists, because if enough of you go out there, you're just regular people who go to the casinos. You watch casino content on YouTube, and you're probably not a professional degen, which is short for degenerate. Look, if you're on like Social Security because you're in a wheelchair and you're 70 years old, get out there and make the money. We don't care, all right? You can be there 12 hours a day at the casino. Good for you. It's a job that you can do. You know, same for like if you speak limited English and that's just a side hustle you could do so you fell in love with it. Hard work, baby. Keep grinding. But like, I want to make it so that nobody can be a professional Advantage player anymore because us are just wiping stuff out. Just the people. That's the whole theme of my channel. You know what I mean? They can go back to like bribing Walmart managers to scalp Pokemon products at like 2 a.m. So that's fine. They can stick to that. But get out of my casino, you know what I mean? So we call those people, instead of degens, we call them greasies because a lot of the ones at the casinos we go to look like if I touch them, I would want to immediately wash my hands. They are always like 21, 22, 23-year-olds who are always wearing a hat for some reason. They've usually got their earbuds in. Oh, and then we say, hey, there's a Unabomber if they're wearing a hoodie plus the glasses plus the earbuds. Gotta get that exact combo to be Ted Kaczynski level. But like, people used to call them sketchies. We just call them Unabombers. We're like, oh, there's another Unabomber, where they think they're being stealthy and not attracting attention. If it is 75 damn degrees in that casino and you're wearing a hoodie with the hood up and you're wearing sunglasses when it's not that dang bright in there and you know it, and you're wearing earbuds, security is going to be on you like a microscope. You think you're being real subtle? Like you are like suspect number one right now. They're going to follow you around. You're an idiot. This is a Unabomber free zone, okay? Do not do that. If that is you, you need to cut that crap out. We actually do the opposite. We're hiding in plain sight. Hawaiian shirt, gambling, jewelry, tapping the screen for good luck. We are the type of people that they want. We're loud and proud. We're every time we get a win, we're woo, high five and everything. Like, we're just those people, you know? One, nobody wants to sit next to people being that loud, obnoxious, and energetic. At least not anybody over the age of 60. So right there, we're reserving the machine without locking it up. Two, the casino staff wants to have limited interactions with people like that because they just assume they're drunk. Or we blend in because we're just that crew having fun. You know, we just enjoy gambling. Cool. What's wrong with that? Like, if you're looking around being way too quiet, suspicious quiet, you're trying to hide your face, hide your hair, hide anything. Nah, bro. So that's if you just took being a Unabomber and doing the opposite. Okay, you're not subtle. You're not going to get ignored by security. You're not smart. And all the cat on a hot tin roof people looking around, bro. Nah, dude, you might as well be wearing a t-shirt that says, hey, security, comma, I'm up to something. So that's what we call them, the Unabombers. We have also been known to call them the stealthies. Because it's like ironic, because they're not. They are not stealthy. They think they are. They are not. So playing tight, that's probably the most common thing I say. Playing tight means, yeah, this machine's at 104%. Yeah, there's like 2X's on 10-line poker. But I'm playing tight today, which means like my loss tolerance is low, or I'm just sick of losing, or I really want to buy this expensive Christmas present. I want to see if I can get there, so I'm playing tight. So instead of playing any 12 on Magic Treasures, you play like a 15, you know? You'll pass on long run stuff, you'll play short run stuff. You ain't betting too high, you aren't taking, big shots. You're playing tight, which means you're consistently hitting stuff that's within your bankroll. You're not risking your whole bankroll on one thing, and you're looking for way, way, way better opportunities than just average little, ooh, I can make a couple percent maybe. Because if the machine's at 150% and you don't play anything below 150%, you've got a lot of margin for that to slip down a little bit on an unlucky run. Speaking of that, we call a run like anything that's not a short run machine is a run. So you don't say, oh, I went on a run when you did 3 spins on Scarab. That's not a run. But if you say, hey man, I just had a really good run on this, or we had a bad run, it means you're probably in for 100 spins and it didn't quite go your way. But yeah, that's a run. Yeah, playing tight and a run are probably you've heard that the most on this channel by far. Also, I always use the term edge margin, or some people call it the VIG if they want to be, stupid old school. I think that's like a mafia term or something. So it's the house edge, so everybody calls it the edge. I call it the margin because I'm a business guy. I was the head accountant for my company that I owned, obviously, so I know margins. I know you buy something for this, you sell it for that. The difference is the margin. So, I mean, the casino's selling you a product, it's a margin to me. And then a bunch of Vegas wannabes call it the VIG. Call it whatever you want, man. I don't care. Like, so if you ever see me saying, oh yeah, this is 110% on video poker, so like 1-2x multiplier, and I say, oh, it's 110%, oh, but minus the margin. Or minus the edge, minus the house edge. That's what I mean. So like, oh, that pay table, it's a 97% RTP or return to player. There's literally no way you don't know what RTP is. That's why I didn't even make my list, but sure. But then the inverse of that is the edge. You know, that's the casino's advantage on the machine. So you might say, oh, that's a 3% edge machine. Or there's a 3% margin on this machine. I use them interchangeably, usually contextually. Now here's one that pretty much only I say, but if you're a cribbage player, you know exactly what I'm saying. Skunk. I got skunked. I skunked out on that machine. That was a bad run, man. Yeah, I skunked. It usually heavily implies you lost money on that run, but it could also just mean bad result. Like, oh, I checked that whole row and it was a skunk, or we skunked out on that whole row, which means there was no plays, 0 plays left on the whole bank. I think honestly the most common time I use it is when we get a bad bonus, where like we know what the bonus should pay on average and it was way lower. I'm like, oh, we got skunked on that bonus. And it usually implies that it was way lower than it was supposed to be. Oh yeah, I'm looking down the list. So a crew is just a group of AP players. Maybe you're splitting, maybe you're chopping. That's another term. I don't like chopping because chopping is specifically like I sold a portion of my action in a poker tournament. Or I sold a stake, which is really bad because if you consider it a stake, that's illegal in a lot of states. But you found a backer, a financier, there's all this, like the poker world is this whole thing. But chopping usually means that, you know, if I win $100,000 at the poker tournament, I'm chopping because I've got investors, I got backers, I got stakes, I sold action, whatever. But then also chopping means that it's going back and forth between player or banker on baccarat. So I don't like terms that mean multiple things. I like to be very precise. So we never say chopping. We say like a share, we're sharing, or we just call everything a group pull, even though the definition of a group pull is very, very loose. Like it's like 2 people, because playing for stakes, playing for shares, playing on borrowed money, or paying commissions on borrowed money, or like something like that, absolutely kicked out immediately. You'd be lucky if you get a warning. I was playing Mississippi Stud, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I actually plays a little bit past, which means, you know, because you bet $10, and then if you get, like, a gimme hand, a no-brainer, as they call it, where you know you're going to either push or win, like pair of jacks, pair of sixes, whatever, you literally cannot lose the hand, but you have to max out all 3 bets. So you're looking $30, $30, and you counted your stacks wrong, you're like, I'm short 5. You know, somebody goes, oh yeah, they'll throw you 5, you know, because otherwise, one time somebody refused to do it. I'm like, I will literally show you my cards. They're like, no, I don't borrow money to other gamblers. I'm like, do you just not understand what's going on here? So I'm like, okay, hold my seat. I'll be right back. Mid hand, I went and walked as slow as I could to the ATM, took out one single $20 bill, slapped it down on the table. The person's looking at me the whole way. I'm like, yeah, But I've had people do it. I hit a monster hand, like a full house, and I'm like, oh, thanks. And when I pay them the 10, they notice that I put an extra 5 on there, and they're like, can't do that. Because that's now like a commissioned loan. Like you literally, they will instantly stop you. Any dealer with any kind of training will say, nope, not allowed. So little tip, don't do that. But if it's a group pull, that's legal everywhere. The general rule, I mean, it's down to casino policy, but like it's like legal. If the person is present, then you're not a bookie. I mean, that's like federal law. Now, don't quote me on that. Okay, I'm not a lawyer, but if the person is physically present with you and is above the age of 21 and you're going 50-50 on a slot win, that's cool. Unless casino has a policy against it, that's cool. Now, playing for stakes, not allowed. What's the difference? Not much. Usually an even split is like when you say, do you want to go in on it with me? That means like 100, you know, and we're splitting, we're chopping, we're whatever. But we just say, oh, you want to go in on a group pull with us? Knowing darn well that is a loose definition. And then my questions that were like, go check the mics, check anybody walking past, check the neighbor. Oh, neighbor is the person playing next to you, by the way. That's another of my favorite terms. We said group pull. Before we even started, we said, do you want to make this group pull? You want to go in on it with me? Group pull? And now it's a group pull. It's allowed everywhere. I didn't see a sign. By the way, if you like this content, cool. We got way better content on this channel. This is my dumb podcast where I just like talk about dumb stuff. But I figured out what the topic for the future podcasts are going to be. I don't know if this is going to be like old podcast episode or if it's going to be like a sub-genre or whatever, but it's going to be casino stories because you know I got them. But if you want to see that, or if you like this, or if you're interested in just learning to be an advantage player completely for free on this channel, whole playlist called How to Beat Casinos, check it out. In any of those cases, hit the subscribe button. It's basically just a follow button. It's free. Obviously, it's YouTube. Probably don't need to tell you that. And it just will occasionally tell you when I upload sometimes. I love YouTube. Super consistent. But I mean, I was at a mass shooting. We got evacuated to like the school. The Red Cross showed up. I mean, that's like the least crazy story. We had a guy just going off, and I almost picked a fight with him because security wanted to not fill out a bunch of paperwork and have an insurance claim. Whereas, I don't care. Then we had the medical incident where I almost caused another one right next to them. I have got a lot of completely loony stories. They're all completely true. And I'm going to share them with you guys in future episodes. So you're going to want to subscribe to see that. Okay, back to the terminology. This gets crazy from here. Here's one. Never say this word in a casino, okay? Never. I'm not even going to tell you what our words for this are because they're code words and it's none of your dang business, but what's called is a shade. So a shade back in the day was you're doing something funny. You got a light wand, you got a shim, you got a Slim Jim, whatever you got, and you're doing something with the machine to try and manipulate the credit value. You got a yo-yo. I'm not going to go into way what some of the stuff is. I've never done it, but I know, I hear things. But way back in the day, you'd hire someone, usually an attractive woman, or if you're smart, a very, very large, wide man, because they're a shade. Why would you get a thin woman to do? Anyway, they'd come up, they'd crowd the machine, they'd pull the handle for you, or rub your shoulders or whatever, but what they're really doing is blocking what you're doing. And usually a shade implies that you're doing something illegal. So yeah, it's someone blocking the view of security. And it just looks normal. It just looks like, oh, you got a group around you and you're playing high limit. So yeah, $5 a spin back in the day, that's the big boy coins, So yeah, you would hire shades and you'd pay them a commission at the end of the night and part ways or whatever you want to do. But yes, the generic term is blockers. Now, if you say, I need a blocker, I need a shade, and somebody overhears that, you're out. You're banned for life. But if someone's on the end of a bank of 4 and you just want someone to sit like you're on the right, they're on the left, and you need someone to sit to the left of you and sit sideways facing you so they're really wide so that the person can't see what you're doing because you don't want to give out free lessons on how to AP play the machine that you're on. And you just need a blocker. We usually call that a sitter because duh. But blocking the view of people walking past at a hostile casino, or we're doing something that we just want to hit a machine super fast and we don't want them asking no questions and we don't want that reputation. Yeah, there's a word for that, and it's not shade, so don't say shade. But then we got what I call a scout, because, video games and, other stuff, but spotter. We've heard spotter. But it's just somebody who, maybe they're like a low limit, they're like, what do they call that? A low loss tolerance player. So maybe they know AP, they know what's up. Somewhere between a retiree and a drug addict. That's usually what it is. Or a gambling addict. I've heard of all three. You hire them because you know darn well they ain't got above about $1 bill in their wallet. All right. So you say, yeah, cool. You hit the small stuff. It's fine. They're not a threat because you want to play medium to big if you want to make serious money. But that's old school AP stuff. Now it's just okay, every man for themselves. If I can make $5, I'm doing it because the hot dogs are only $8. You know what I mean? You get a side of fries with that. And fun tip, how there's always free beverages in every single casino? Most of the restaurant staff are trained to specifically not complain if you walk in with a free beverage into the restaurant or the eating area or whatever that's inside the casino, and then don't order a drink. Because they ain't getting much of a tip if they're no, you got to pay money, and don't be petty over $2. And what if they just had it in their hand? They didn't know better. Don't be mean and get bad reviews from new people. There's all these reasons to do it. So, how to advantage play the beverage station. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the spotters and the scouts. So if they find something big, something they're not willing to play, or they're down, they're out, they're what do they call that? Tapped out for the day. That's another term that I don't tend to use, but that I've heard. Or they made 1,000 and they're good, but that's not how any advantage player I know works. They know you're willing to take what they call a swing, that's another one, at a really big thing. Or a long play machine. They're short players, they check the easy stuff where they're out in 6-7 spins, 10 rollovers, limited, happy eights, all that stuff, scarab. I mean, Ultimate X is one hand. So they know that you're one of the swing people. You're one of the high roller APs. You're the pros or whatever. There's all kinds of terms. So they could be a scouter for you, and you either give them a flat amount, hey, I'll pay you $5-10 if you find something. They're that's cool. I would never risk $2,000 of my money on this long run machine. or they had a bad experience once and they're just like, I'm not playing that, too high a variance, too high a volatility. But they know they could lock it up with their card, or they can, reserve it, wave to you, run real quick, send somebody else from the crew and go, hey, you want to play this? We gotta play. We got a 17 of Magic Treasures, but it's a 12 a spin. We ain't about that. So the small fries, they're coming up to the people who will take a swing at it, and they'll get a commission. You either pay them a couple percent, pay them $5-10 for the machine, as they call it, buy their seat. That's usually the term that we use. And it's just everybody wins usually. It's just, it is what it is. Nothing really wrong with it, but I wouldn't hire a full-time one, because anybody who's willing to do that is probably just lying, and they want you to tell them how to beat all the machines, and they'll come backstab you and they'll early bird you. If you remember what early birding is, if you know you're showing up at 10 o'clock in the morning and they know that too, you're going to have a problem when you teach them how to hit the machines if they get anything resembling money, which is why people only hire the homeless or drug addicts, which, as you might imagine, is a bad idea. So I stay away from that whole world. If another small fry crew wants to hit me up, cool. But not a good idea, because I'm not the guy who takes big swings. So there's a bunch of terms for you. I usually got a bankroll of about $1,000 at any given time, maybe $2 if it's the right machine. But I've been known to skip kind of mediocre swings at $20 a spin on Scarab, when I know darn well I'm only going to be in for $180. At 1 out of 10, that's a swing. Okay, there ain't no guarantees there. Oh, here's one exclusively from card counting and blackjack, which is the stupidest way to make money ever. And by make money, I mean lose your money. You're gonna get caught, you're gonna get backed off. If you're at a casino that's stupid, they're probably onto you anyway and you're wrong. They're gonna catch you eventually just from the inverses out. They're gonna know what's happening and say who was locked in the table. They're gonna ID you to play above 20 a spin or 20 a hand. You really can't do it anymore. Cue everybody saying, I do it all the time and I make money. Okay, it's 1.025, so 2.5% potential profitability. So you have to bet so high that you might as well just walk around high limit, or hire a scout, or just whatever you got to do, and just play bigger. Because I could name some 150% machines. You're going to be waiting a long time and a lot of hands to make that kind of money at 2.5%. That's if you play perfectly. Then luck can just go off the rails, and you can just lose 10 in a row and burn your whole bankroll. Just kidding. Nobody has a bankroll that small, but yeah, it's just stupid. Card counting is idiotic. But anyway, somebody who jumps on a table when their friend signals them that the count is really high and it's advantageous, and there's enough of the shoe left that they should jump in. That's called wonging, named after somebody with the last name of Wong from I don't know, Harvard or something. He's one of those original people. There's all these movies about him. He was the one who invented card counting or something. I don't know. I'm not really part of that world because it's just so stupid and such a complete waste of time and money. And all the big crews make content on YouTube now. Just think about that for a second. So wonging to me is just short for you're going to get trespassed out of that casino for life. So everybody's heard EV. That's a big thing in the card opening world. What's the EV on this box of Pokemon cards, or whatever. EV is an old finance term. Expected value is what it means. So what's the EV on this machine? It'd be about 1,000 and you should be able to make 100. So the EV is 10%, Or the EV of this bonus is usually 50 bets or 100 bets, I actually use that term a lot. Usually, if I'm talking specifically casinos, I actually usually just say, what's the return? Or somebody will ask me on my crew, what's the return on this? I'm like, those numbers 130%. He's like, okay, 130, I could swing that. All right. Then we've got the suits. Okay. The suits means to you whatever you want it to mean. It could be the people reviewing the place. So you only want to put in your card on short run stuff or long run. And when it gets close to the hit buy, you pull it, which is what I like to call tax evasion. Once again, your people aren't just they're not going to catch me. Know that I consistently won every day for a year. Ha ha ha. No, they're I don't want to pay taxes on this. Whoop. That's what the greasies do all the time. And it pisses me off. But anyway, yeah, the suits could mean, the heads of security, just security themselves. It could be the execs. It could be the pit bosses. I've heard everybody been called the suits. It's usually somebody wearing a suit, though. But it could just be the professionals, the people who know what they're doing, not the low-level dealers, not the low-level security, the low-level whatever. It's the higher-ups. It's the people you got to worry about maybe if you're doing something you think they won't approve of. If somebody's like, hey, we should try doing this. So we should try sharing information until we get caught on Mississippi. And I'm like, no, that'll piss off the suits, which could just mean the people analyzing the play, the people analyzing the in versus out numbers, the people watching all the cameras in the... I actually forgot what the security... There's all these nicknames for the security, central hub. where all the cameras are, and I don't remember like any of them. I think I heard somebody say the crow's nest one time. But yeah, I mean, just watch out for the suits, or the suits won't like that, or the suits will catch you, whatever. Then we got the last one. I already said it, grinding or the grinders. That just means like I think I've even said this in videos. Yeah, I'm grinding. I'm just out grinding, which means I'm playing the normal way I normally do. It's like the opposite of a swing. A swing is like I'm going to take a swing at something big, Swing implies, I don't care if you think you're like catching a butterfly in a butterfly net or you're like in a boxing match. It just means I could miss. This could backfire. I'm going to take a swing. We're going to see if it lands. Grinding is the opposite. I'm playing $3 a spin on down or whatever. I'm playing within $10 a spin on short run stuff. You're just in the casino hitting the stuff you normally do at the normal amount and just going. Like it's like I'm on the grind. It's like I'm doing an 8-hour shift. It's kind of like that's what it means. And I think that means like something. What is it? Head to the grindstone or something? There's some old thing about like, yeah, I'm grinding up the flour, doing the work, putting in the labor. I think that's where the grind or grinding comes from. And that's why people started calling like any shift a grind. Like, oh, now you're a coal miner, you're on the grind. And now it means like you're just treating it like a job, which is not generally what I recommend. But look, if you lost a bunch of money playing what you want to do and you're kind of like, let's refill the coffers. You want to early bird someone and just go on a grind, go on a 5 a.m. grind, you're grinding? Do it up, bro. You do you. I mean, if you're just doing it to drive away the AP crews so they see a sharp decline in playable states, we don't have a nickname for that, but we're just like, hey, why don't we just spend all week grinding and then they'll go away. And then weirdly, we don't actually have a term for new people yet, new APers. Like I said, we won't try to take action, make them feel uncomfortable, or just let them know that they're in a casino with a ton of other AP players without having to walk up and just tell them that to their face, because that's weird. Just let, check a machine right next to them twice the speed they can and just speed spin a bonus like lightning at like $7 a spin, and they'll know, okay, all right. And then have your whole crew come over, have the boys come over. And be like, yeah, I got to play on this one and say it way louder than you normally would, that kind of stuff. But, that's the kind of stuff you want to do to dissuade a new person. So they could be in for traveling. They could be in for their job. They could be on a work retreat. They could be at the whatever dumb thing convention for some dumb business for some stupid suits. I call anybody a suit who goes to those conventions. And look, if they're an out-of-towner, they're a vacation, they're a holiday player, holiday gambler, that's an old term. You don't have to put in any effort, but when we see them twice, then we might try a little something, give them a little information. We're not going mafia. We're not going to threaten to break their legs, or we'll catch them in the parking lot, or we'll leave some graffiti on their car, like dumb gangland crap. Okay, I don't get into none of that nonsense. Like I'm from the hood, but I ain't from that part of the hood. You know what I mean? They'll like go mow some lawns because we ain't got money for your allowance. Like that hood. Not the crime hood. But you know what? If you can come up with the best nickname or your own nickname for new people that you want to scare off, kinda, or dissuade. Scare off that sounds bad. We don't want to scare them. We just want to tell them that they're not going to make any money and that there's already too many people doing it without like literally telling them. So, something like snowbirds where you're like, wow, they're just here for they're traveling. They don't actually live here. They're not a local. Maybe we should call them anti-local. I don't know. I just can't, off the top of my head, think of a term for it. So leave one down in the comment section if you're clever enough to have thought of one. Otherwise, this has got to be the most weirdly entertaining and somewhat vaguely, by a stretch, educational, I guess, episode of the least consistent podcast ever, which might actually be what I name it. Let's be honest, it's just going to be called the Desolator Gaming Podcast if I continue the episodes, man. But hey, thanks for watching. If I do more than a couple of these, I think I'll make this a playlist. Right now, it's probably just on the educational playlist, and my God, am I stretching that definition with this one. But if you found some entertainment with this one, leave a big ol' like. Go check out something more productive on my channel, like how to beat casinos, how to actually be an AP player. It's all for free. And Patreon link in the description if you want to come support the channel. So check it out. Get some good resources over there to download to your phone so you can reference them real quick at the casino for just a couple bucks. We ain't out there to become millionaires or overcharge people. Okay, I ain't selling a book or course and all that crap. That ain't how we do it in the hood, baby. We just hustle. We're on that grind. So thanks for watching, everybody. And I'll see y'all next time.